Hello everybody, this is Ma'am Sheena. So last Monday, I asked you to send me some questions about our topic, which is controlling. And controlling class is the last managerial function that we will discuss in management. So I am here to answer some of your questions.
Okay, so we all know the meaning of controlling. So I wanna know, what is the process for controlling?
Okay, so what now is the process of controlling? The controlling process class involves 3 steps. So number 1 is to actually measure the actual performance. Number 2 is to compare actual performance against a standard. And 3, taking managerial action to correct deviations or to address inadequate standards. So first, syempre, you need to measure the actual performance. Have you, kumbaga, how much have you achieved in your goal? And number 2 is to compare it with the standard. So it is assumed that in the controlling process, there is already a performance standard, and that performance standard is already set in the planning process. And number 3 is to take managerial action to correct deviations or to address inadequate standards. So there are 3 possible solutions or courses of action. Of course, if you achieve that successful siya, you should do nothing. But if there are deviation, number 2, you can correct the actual performance, and 3, revise the standards.
My first question po is, what could be the most important in controlling? Is it feed forward, concurrent, or feedback controlling?
Okay, so among the 3 that you have mentioned, alin ba ang pinaka-importante? First, let us define muna yung tatlong yon. So number 1, we have the feed-forward control. So it is the type of control that is done before the activity. Okay. The second one is concurrent. Ibig sabihin current. While the activity is going on or during siya. And of course, the feedback, kaya siya feedback. Kasi after the activity mo siya ginagawa, or the controlling that is done after the activity. And if you would ask me, importante naman siya lahat, pero the most important is the feed-forward control, okay, which is done before the activity. Okay, para kasi siyang prevention. Okay, prevention is better than cure. Okay, and of course, kapag maayos yung feed-forward control, pwedeng hindi ka na magkakaroon ng other deviations during and after. And at the same time, feed-forward control is all about being proactive. Ang proactive class is all about meron ka ng solusyon before pa magkaroon ng problema. Ang kabaliktaran nun ay ang pagiging reactive, kung saan sinosolve mo lang yung problema kapag dumating na siya. So, be proactive, and of course, go tayo sa feed-forward control.
Is controlling a forward-looking function or a backward-looking function?
Okay, with that question, is controlling forward-looking or backward-looking? So, ito, medyo napaisip ako kasi pwede siyang mas more on, feeling ko, it's more on backward-looking. It is because you need to check the standards, or you need to compare the standards with the actual performance, and it's backward-looking. But, okay, it is also, I realized that it is also forward-looking dahil titingnan mo, ano ba ang dapat kong gawin para hindi na ito maulit. So, it is actually both. It is both forward-looking and backward-looking. And with that, meron niya akong na-research dito. It is a backward-looking function in that sense that it assesses the work done and analyzes deviations from the set standards. And based on that deviations, as what I have said earlier, it attempts to take the required corrective measures or corrective action. Thus, it guides the future course of action and aims at improving the future performance. So in that sense, it is also a forward-looking function. So as I've discussed earlier, meron tayong feed-forward, that is forward-looking, and yung feedback is actually backward-looking.
Is it possible to skip the two managerial process, the organizing and leading in managing an organization?
Okay, possible nga ba? My answer is actually yes. It is possible that an organization can skip organizing and leading, okay, formally, but I think they are doing organizing and leading informally. Ibig sabihin, they don't even know that they are doing it and hindi nila na-skip yun. Okay? And it is possible that the organization can skip organizing, such as yung choosing what department or paano ba ang pagde-departmentalize, ganyan, and leading yung pagmamotivate. But, okay, it is not necessarily that the goals will be achieved without the two, because these are necessary.
So, good day, Mom. I just want to ask, way back when you're still in high school, how did you use controlling when you're still the SSG president of Pangasinan National High School?
Very interesting question. Okay, so when I was a student leader, syempre I remember na majority of the function of as SSG president is actually to conduct events, ganyan. And of course, nangyayari ang controlling. Syempre, when we plan what will, kumbaga, controlling is basically, may link siya sa planning. Ano ba ang gagawin mo kapag umulan, ganyan. And of course, kunyari wala yung mga speakers, what will you do during that event mismo, sino ang backup, etc. And of course, yung feedback is actually the assessment of the event itself, what went wrong, what went right, ano dapat ang gagawin, lalo lang sa mga high school festivals, kasi diba it's parang 3 days or buong week siya. Okay, and of course, nagkakaroon ng assessment yun I think kung hindi man every day, parang every event, nagkakaroon ng assessment para sa susunod ay hindi na maulit yun.
My question for our topic is, what do you think will happen to an organization if there are only 3 management functions: planning, organizing, and leading, and controlling is not included?
Wow, that's another interesting question. What will happen nga ba if there is no controlling? So, syempre, the goal will not be completely achieved. Okay, at kung na-achieve man siya, for the next time na ginawa ulit yun, hindi nila malalaman na may mali silang ginawa. Okay? Kasi syempre, controlling involves measuring performance. How will they know if they achieve that goal or not? Or if the plan has been implemented appropriately. So, without controlling, hindi talaga mabubuo yung managerial process natin, or hindi completely na ma-achieve yung ating mga goals. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, kapag walang controlling, you wouldn't know what to do the next time you do an activity, because there is no feedback, there is no assessment.
This control can be called time management, budgeting, or forecasting. If yes, how?
To answer your question, the 3 terms that you have mentioned, time management, budgeting, and forecasting, lean more on the planning side rather than the controlling side.
The question I want to ask is, how important is the control function between an employee and the manager?
Okay, although we have skipped this, one of the subtopics in leading is actually about organizational behavior or human behavior in organization. So this talks about the behavior of the employees inside the organization. Okay, one of the goals of organizational behavior, aside from explaining what is behavior, to describe what is behavior, is actually to control behavior. So very important ang controlling, because controlling involves kunyari giving rewards or punishments whenever necessary para mas ma-accomplish yung goals ng isang organization.
My one question is, how does controlling helps the organizations in achieving goals?
As I've said earlier, in order for the organization to achieve its goals, it has to do planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. So without controlling, as I've said earlier, the managerial process will not be completed or accomplished perfectly. Kung if not perfect, yung 100% na okay talaga na na-achieve what is the standard set. It is because you have to assess whether you achieve the goal or not. In order for you to assess that, you do controlling. So, without controlling, hindi talaga buong-buo ma-achieve yung goals natin.
In what way do you think that planning, organizing, leading, and controlling relates to each other?
Okay, so for the final question in this video, what is the link of the 4 managerial functions natin? Yung planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Of course, these are done by the managers in order to achieve or accomplish our goals. So, without one of each of the functions, pwedeng hindi ma-achieve yung goals. So, nakabase rin yan, syempre, depende sa ating manager or the leader kung paano niya siya i-implement. Thank you guys for sending in your questions. You can still send your questions via our Google Drive. And thank you for watching this video. I'll see you next time. Bye!